because there'll be a song comes on here in a minute that relates exactly what we're talking about. Now, dear old Nugget here stumbled across Elma Crawford, who happened to murder his family back in 1970. Back in 1970, I was a 2-year-old kid. I was born in 1967. Anyway, I was in Western Australia, probably in 2006 it is now, so a long time ago. I was delivering fuel out to remote properties, Aboriginal communities, a place called Marble Bar. I stumbled across a bloke by the name of fucking Lenny Lever. Now, Lenny Lever, when I first met him, was an absolute fucking pig. He grunted at me, he snotted at me, and I thought, what a fucking pig you are. Anyway, in the next fucking 3 weeks to a month, I had to go back and deliver more fuel to a power station. So Marble Bar was generated, like the electricity in Marble Bar was generated by a fucking powerhouse. Anyhow, this time I had Kelly Martin with me, who was my girlfriend at the time. I wanted Kelly Martin to move to Port Hedland with me so we could have a new life. Anyway, Elma Crawford, who happened to be Lenny Lever. In the meantime, I'd heard Damien Jackson, who was a Victorian copper, and Jamie Ronk were up there at Mount Tom Price looking for Elma Crawford. They heard that he was up there. He was last heard that he was in fucking Perth, last seen in Perth, by some family or family friend. She went and confronted him and said, you are Elma Crawford. This bloke dismissed this lady and told this lady, no, you're a fool, go away, I don't know who you are. Anyhow, I heard a radio interview on the ABC. Damien Jackson was the one I heard talking. Anyway, I only heard the last snippets of the interview, that they were up there at Mount Tom Price looking for Elma Crawford. In the meantime, me and Miss Martin had turned up at Marble Bar to deliver fuel to Lenny Lever. Lenny Lever started playing with my girlfriend's breasts. And I went, what the fuck is going on here? Last time I was here, you old cunt, you wouldn't even fucking talk to me. Anyway, I happened to say to Mr. fucking Lever, where are you from? He said, I left Victoria in a hurry in 1970. Me relating to the police interview I heard, 1970. Now the police said that this bloke left fucking Victoria 40 years ago. In 2006, that was 38 years ago, not 40. Now I went, bingo, this is you. I said, hang on a fucking minute. I said, you're not fucking Elma Crawford, are you? And this old cunt put his head down and started to walk away. So I slapped him on the back and said, I wouldn't be you anyway, they caught that cunt. Anyway, he went on to tell me he was from Glenroy. He also told me that he was on the run from the law. He also told me he went to fucking up there in 1970, he was a grader driver. He married an Aboriginal woman, he had 2 kids to him, a boy and a girl. Ah, righto, so you've got 2 more kids. So I'm thinking, you've got DNA. Now, stupid here, Kelly Martin knew nothing about this. So anyway, we went from Marble Bar to Nullagine. So I tried to tell Kelly the story, what I just heard, because Kelly actually told Mr. fucking Lever that her husband came from Reservoir, which is not far from fucking Glenroy.
20 minutes away.
Well, I don't know this. I don't know the Melbourne suburbs. But anyway, she said, anyway, Jason was born in 1967, the same as me. So this is the husband, and they're still married, so I'm shagging Jason's wife, and me and Jason get on like brothers, and anyway, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this gets worse, because then Mr. Crawford, or Mr. Lever, whoever the cunt's pretending to be, told me more information. He had 3 properties in Queensland. Now, Mr. Crawford, I found out, was a fucking used to work at the VRC, Victorian Race Club, as an unlicensed electrician. Now, the police are looking for an unlicensed electrician. Guess who's running a powerhouse in Marble Bar? And I said, are you an electrician? He said, no, I'm not an electrician, I'm a fucking mechanic, you stupid cunt. I said, hang on a fucking minute, you're running a powerhouse. He said, it's diesel generated, you fuckwit. I'm a diesel mechanic. Now, they're looking for a fucking handyman who can fix things. Mr. fucking Lever can fix things. He's running a fucking powerhouse. I've ticked that box too. Now, apparently they're looking for some cunt with a chunk out of his right or left ear. Guess who's got a chunk out of his right or left ear? Mr. fucking Lever has. And I'm ticking all these fucking boxes. So anyway, I told Miss Martin, who was my girlfriend, Kelly, at the time, about the story we'd travelled for an hour and a half from fucking Marble Bar to Nullagine. And she said, no, you're not right now, you can't be right, you can't be right. I couldn't help myself. I pulled up outside the Nullagine fucking police station, walked straight in there, said to Sergeant fucking Damien, another fucking Damien. Anyway, he's a sergeant. Listen. Let me finish, fuck ya.
George, Roscoe, shut up.
Shut up for a fucking minute. You hear the whole story. Don't interrupt. Anyway, goes in there, and old mate says to me, right, he said, I know who this, I got the phone number of this copper. Anyway, gets onto this copper, and I said to this Damien Jackson, I said, mate, I think I found the bloke you're looking for. He said, oh yeah, describe him to me. I said, he's 168 centimetres tall, same as me. I said, he's got a chunk out of his right ear. He said, yes. And I said, he told me he left Victoria in 1970. And he said, well, that's very true. He said, because in 1970, it's now 2006, he actually left 38 years ago. He said, we said 40 years ago because we had to dismiss the fucking lunatics to get on there and go, we found him. So anyway, Mr. Jackson then said to me, we'll get back to you. So by this time, Easter time's coming up. I haven't heard a fucking word. Anyway, I took photos of this cunt after Miss Martin went back home. Easter time's coming up. There is a school reunion in a little shithole that I come from, Tottenham in New South Wales. A mate of mine, Jack Smith, rang me up and said, what are you up to, cunt? And I told him the story about how I think I found this bloke. And Jack said, well, hang on a minute, remember fucking one of the Burt girls? I said, yes, she married a Victorian police officer. So Jack went and seen this Victoria police officer at the school reunion. Turns out that this Victorian police officer is Jamie and Jackson's boss. He asked Jack Smith, how do you know so much about this? He said, we mates over in West Australia think he's found him. Anyway, Miss Martin, I'd bought a house in Tottenham. Miss Martin went up there for the weekend to see her parents. It's Easter weekend. She's staying in my house. Guess where this sergeant's staying, or sergeant commissioner, whatever the cunt is. I don't know who the fucking what rank the cunt had. He's staying 2 houses away. Guess who come round to Miss Martin and told her to shut her fucking mouth, you don't know what you're talking about. Unfortunately, this Victorian copper, she happened to say to this cunt, my father was a New South Wales police officer. I know how you cocksuckers work, now fuck off. Now fuck off, you copper cunt, you dog cunt. And he said, shut your fucking mouth, neither of you know what you're talking about. This gets even worse. I've finally got on, because I'm no emailer, I've finally got onto this author of this book. I've got a copy of this book, so I've read the book after I found this cunt. I've finally connected. I've sent photos across to America to this fucking Greg Fogarty who's written this fucking book. Greg Fogarty has got facial recognition. He's put it on his facial recognition. He said, mate, you have found this cunt. He said, I don't know how you found him, who you are, what the fuck you've done. You're a better detective than any cunt in Australia. I said, mate, I stumbled across him. I said, but I've been a salesman. I've learnt to use my ears and I've learnt to listen. I said, this cunt's told me too much. He said, you found him. Right, now all of a sudden, I bring up fucking Mr. Jackson and said, nah, I've fucking finally found this cunt. Fuck you, Jackson. I've seen no action from you, Jackson, so get fucked. Anyhow, then all of a sudden on national fucking news, I'm in Canberra at the time, comes across national news, we found Elma Crawford, he's dead in Texas, we finally found this cunt. Now, any cunt knows you don't grow earlobes. Right? Now, this photo they put up in this cunt in fucking Texas who's got fucking no ID, because the cunt's got 5 different identities and no fingerprints. They're saying it's Elma Crawford. Well, this cunt in Texas had no earlobes. Elma Crawford did. No chunk out of his fucking ear either. So anyway, I'm yelling at the fucking TV going, you fucking crooked cunts, you fucking dog cunts. It's not him, you fucking mongrels. They've sold the case. Now, I've seen an interview then, because the case has been solved. So Neil Mitchell from 3AW in Melbourne is now interviewing Greg Fogarty from America, saying, Greg Fogarty, your case is finally being solved. You can write the last chapter to your book. Until Mr. fucking Fogarty happened to say to Mr. Mitchell, I've been to the U2 island. I've got DNA. Mr. fucking Jackson went, what the fuck? You've got DNA? And Mr. Fogarty said, yes, I fucking do. A month later, there's a snippet in the paper saying this is not fucking Elma Crawford because the DNA doesn't match. Guess who sent Mr. Fogarty the DNA? No, I didn't, but I wish I did. I was told by Mr. Jackson to burn the DNA. You've obtained it illegally, get rid of it. So I did. I had hair follicles, I had his saliva because he smoked cigarettes. I had everything. Right, so yes, I obtained this information illegally. Mr. Jackson told me to burn it. I said, hang on a minute, cunt. I said, we can prove that this is him. He said, I don't want your evidence. In the meantime, I've since met Mr. fucking, a local police officer in Marble Bar by the name of, I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, I went and asked this cunt about collecting DNA. He said, we have to wear gloves, you have to do this, and you have to not contaminate it, blah, blah, blah. He said, you think the cunt's in this town, don't you? I said, yes, I fucking do. He said, who is it? I said, I'm not telling you. Guess who walked up the driveway of the fucking cop shop? And I said to this copper, watch this. And I went and pulled his fucking slappy hat off. I said, this cunt's got a chunk out of his right ear, okay, at the top of it. So I pulled this cunt's hat off, put it on my head. I danced around like a fucking idiot to make sure that this fucking copper could see this cunt had a chunk out of his top of his ear. Anyway, I said, I have to get the fuck out of here. So whatever business they did. Now, I seen this copper from Marble Bar in Port Hedland about 3 weeks later. Do you think this cunt wanted to talk to me? He was like, get the fuck away from me, you mad cunt. Get the fuck away from me. He did not want to know me. Guess who's now dead? No, he is dead too, but also that police officer's dead. Right, now this gets even worse. I went to Thailand, probably 6-7 years ago, took Kelly over there. Guess who I ran into? The police fucking head honcho of Uchuka Police. Now I happened to say to this chap, I found Elma Crawford, and he said, did you really? He said, we'll have an interview when we get back. Now when he got back to Australia, which is 3 or 4 weeks later, I had to badger this cunt to even talk to me. Guess what he did? Rang up Damien Jackson and said, this cunt reckons he's onto you. I get a phone call from Victoria Police and they said, can you give us more information on that matter? I said, get fucked. And their mate said, what? And I said, get fucked. He said, yeah, you smart cunt, you want to be careful how you talk to Victoria Police officers. I said, mate, I'm in New South Wales, you're in Victoria. What the fuck can you do anyway, you cunts? I said, you're covering this shit up. Now, I've been sent to Queensland, driving trains. A girl that I work with happens to be the daughter of the police prosecutor from Dubbo. Now, I won't mention her name. She said, have you ever heard about the Catholic Mafia? I said, no, never heard of it. And she said, well, back in the day, if there was a fucking pedophile priest within the community, and there was the police commissioner or the police head honcho of the police at the time was a Catholic, you had to cover up for him. So the kids all got tampered with. Not only did the Catholics cover up for him, the fucking cops did. And I said, holy fuck. Now you do know that Mrs. Crawford at the time was impregnated. By whom? She was a staunch Catholic. I believe the priest impregnated her. This cunt's lost the fucking plot knowing he didn't want the 4th kid. That meant a bigger car. He'd already had 3 blocks of land. This cunt's earning fucking something like $20,000 a year. They found so many fucking 20-cent pieces in the attic of his fucking house because the cunt was also a fucking crook. He was a job as an unlicensed electrician. He's in Marble Bar running a powerhouse. Guess who's been told never to come fucking to Victoria? Now, if you scan around, we're at the Murray River. I've been told if I ever come to Victoria, I'm dead. Well, catch me if you can, you motherfuckers.